Actually, naturally, during the rainy season, the reproduction occurs during the rainy season in the wild. The female fish will lay their eggs in the water. So once they lay their eggs in the water, the male fish will go there to do what? To fertilize the egg. So after some time, as the rain is falling, the egg will start hatching into the larva. So these stages, we have different stages of fishes. These stages of fishes, I can give you this morning. You have larva, starting from the larva going to the fries. After fries, going to the fingerlings. After fingerlings, going to the juvenile. After juvenile, going to jumbo. After jumbo, to melange. From melange to the table size. Now listen carefully. These are the stages of fish. These stages they are talking about, when the fish that we have inside the ocean, for instance, and the fish we have inside the wild, they are not enough for the consumption of the human being. So now, this one that we are talking about, they are not involved. That makes the scientist. That makes the scientists to look at a way of multiplying the fish, because it get to a stage where when you see some of these species inside the water anymore, majority of them goes into the extinction. So we don't see them anymore. That's the reason why we look at the stage that okay, now all these things that we are seeing here, just like as if we are mimicking the nation. When I say mimicking the nation, look at this one, this body of water. This body of water we have here. We have this one as shower, as if the rain is falling. Now, when you want to, I told you that the reproduction actually happens during the what? The rainy season. Now, this rainy season, we use this one as what? As if the rain is falling. Now, you don't get your female fish. Get your female fish. For instance, we do hybrid. We do pure clearers, we do tilapia in Nigeria most especially. But here in Nigeria, the most cautioned fish in Nigeria is clarias, and especially the clarias garipinos. Yes, clarias garipinos. These clarias garipinos, they belong to the family Claridae. They belong to the what? Family Claridae. Claridae. So Claridae. So they belong to family Claridae, but the most cautioned one is garipinos. Clarias was garipinos. Now, these clarias garipinos we are talking about, when you want to get your fish, you get your fish, the male and the female fish. These male fish that we are talking about, make sure they are of at least 1 year old. At least 1 year old. You can use 2 years of age of fish, but just make sure they are up to a year old. Even the female also. And anytime you are picking your female, there are some things that you need to look out for in your fish before you can say that this fish is ready for reproduction. Now, when you look at your fish, look at the various fin of the fish that you want to use. Majority of the edge of those fins will come out pinkish or reddish in color. Will come out what? Pinkish or reddish in color. So now this shows that these fish, they are ready for reproduction. That can use them for hatching. Okay. Hope you understand. Yes. We are talking about fin. We have different types of fin. We have dorsal fin, anal fin, pelvic fin, pectoral fin, all this one in the fish. Now, make sure they are what? They come out what? Pinkish or reddish in color. This one shows that they are what? Matured enough for reproduction. Okay. Now, get your female from a reliable farm. When I say reliable farm, the farm you can trust. It's not all the farm that you can trust. It's not all the owner of the farm you can trust. Because people tend to sell shooters for you as good stock. Once they know that, there are some fish, they grow more faster than others. If you see this fish here, they are shooters of the one over there. So if you look at this one now, this one you are seeing here, so they are of the same age, but they grow more bigger than the others. Okay. So that's why we call them shooters. Shooters. They are of the same age, but they grow more bigger than others. So those ones, they are shooters. We need to separate them. If we separate them, they will cannibalize on others. They are going to feed on the other ones. And they are going to reduce your stock. Okay. That's the reason why you need to do what? To sort them in different tanks. Now, I've told you what you are going to use to do was identify your fish. Now, when you now get your female fish and your male fish, make sure you use very big fish for reproduction. When you use very big fish, it tends to come out very well, especially the male and the female. That's why you see anybody that wants to marry, when they know that they are very short, they prefer to marry the one that are taller, so that they won't have, you understand? That's why with this comedian used to say, help yourself and help the nation. Now, this one that I'm talking about, when you can get big fish, anytime they are going to get the fries or the larva, they are going to at least big also, so that they won't have short one at the end of the day. So even if you are going to have short one, it will be as a result of maybe feeding and everything, or the management. Now, when you get this is what I'm going to do. Take your male and the female in different tank. When you take your male and the female in different, you know the reason why you can't take them together. If you take them together, the male will be disturbing the female, and the female is going to shed all the egg inside the water. That's why, and the egg is what you need from the female. So look for the female that are very gravid. When I say gravid, they are loaded with eggs. Now, when you get your female, we have what we call hypophyzation. Hypophyzation is the injecting the female rather. So you are going to inject the female. So naturally, we have what we call ovulation. This ovulation is when we say the release of egg from the ovary. But fish naturally will not release the egg for you if you don't induce the fish. Now, during the process of inducing the fish, we have what we call hormones. These hormones, they are of different brand. You can get ovulin, Overtide, Overprim. All these ones are hormone, depending on the brand you can afford. Now, when you get the hormone, this hormone that we are talking about, we make the fish to release the egg for you freely, easily. You understand? So now, when you get your hormone, you inject your fish later in the night. When you inject it later in the night, I always inject at least around 10, 11 in the night, so that by the time you calculate your latency period, it will be very early in the morning. Because this thing that we are doing is a temperature-based experiment. Okay. So the higher the temperature, the faster the hatching rate. The higher the temperature. The higher the temperature, the faster the hatching rate. So when the temperature is higher, so it tends to do what? Hatch more faster. So that is why you need to do what? To do it later in the night. So when you inject later in the night, so that at the time you are going to spread your egg on the water, it's going to be around 1, where we have high temperature. Are you getting what I'm saying now? It's going to be around maybe 10, 11, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, you understand? So your egg will be on the carbon already around that time. That's why you need to do what? To calculate your latency period at that time. So your latency period always be 7 hours. Latency period is the time between the injection, between you inject and the time you strip. When I say stripping, when you press the egg out of the female, that is stripping. Are you getting me now? That is what we call stripping. So that the latency period is 7 hours between the time you inject later in the night and the time you strip in the morning. That's why I said that's the latency period. So that latency period, when you come here in the morning, you check the female will be releasing the egg gradually. So now takes out the female. Look for dry bucket, the dry bowl. Now this dry bowl you are going to do, when you know that your female is ready, take out the male. Put the male in one bowl. Put salt on it. We always use salt because the male, they are not going to come for you if you don't put salt on them. So put salt on them to let them do what? Calm, to weaken the strength. So now once you do that, now cut the male belly. When you cut the male belly, there is two things you are looking for there, two lobes. These two lobes, in a male, in a human being, we call it sperm sac. But in the fish, we call it milt. M-I-L-T. M-I-L-T. Now, this milt, it is what we are going to bring out. It is in form of lobe, two lobes like this. When you bring them out, get the male, get the egg from the female. Put the male, put the female egg inside the bowl. Now cut the milt, put it on it. As you are putting it on it, that's what we call fertilization. Fertilization has started already. I guess that means you are fertilizing the egg of the female. Okay. Now brings the, you must have prepared your system like this. Maybe before in the injection and everything, prepare your system like this. Put the kakaban. What we put, my brother, please help me bring out one kakaban there, over there. Kakaban. That's net. Is it there? Okay. It's going to float on the water, so you must have prepared your water here. So once you prepare your water here, wash this one, put the water in it, put the carbon on it. So immediately you fertilize the egg, mix it together. You are bringing it inside here. Okay. So this is where the incubation is going to start. That's the reason why we call this one incubation trough. Yes, we call it incubation trough. So incubation starts from here. As you are spreading the egg on the water, you spread it on the carbon. So the egg is going to stick with the kakaban, so it's going to stay. So now count another 24 to 36 hours. Once you do that, spread it on the kakaban. Now put the water as if the rain is falling. Are you getting me now? So once you put the water as if the rain is falling, so leave it for another one, 24 hours to 36 hours. But make sure you come here 24 hours after the incubation. Now after that, you see here, when you come here after 24 hours, you start seeing them coming out gradually. That is the stage you call them larva. You call them at that stage, you call them what? Larva. This larva is the first stage of the fish. So you might not see them easily like that if you use your torch. If you use your torch, you shine it, because they will be moving from the carbon down inside the water. You know there is hole inside the net, so they will be moving from that hole down inside the water. So once you discover that the water is becoming milky, you bring out the what? The carbon, so that the milky nature of the water will not kill your larva. That's the reason why you do what? You bring it out, put it in another water. In case if you still have eggs that wants to hatch, so they will hatch inside. This is where we have your larger part of the larva. So you don't allow that milky nature of the water to kill them for you. That's the reason why you do what? You move the something inside another one. So start putting the water in it. So as the water is coming in, it's going out. As the water is coming in, it's going out. That's what we call flow through. So that you don't have any dirt inside the water again. So as the water is coming in, it's going out. Look at this one now. Look at the water over there. So as the water is coming in, it's going out. That's what we call flow through. It's not the circulatory system. This is what we call flow through. So this one, water is coming in, is going out. Water is coming in, is going out. After 1 week, after 3 days of that, before that 3 days, they will absorb what we call yolk sac. We call it yolk sac. That yolk sac is what they are going to feed on for the first day to the third day. Are you getting me now? So that third day, after the third day, you start seeing them swimming up. they are telling you that they need what? Feed. So we have feed that we can give them. We have Artemia. Artemia, that's how. Can someone get me the can of the Artemia over there? We have the Artemia. Give them the Artemia. And at least for 1 week. At least for what? For 1 week.
For a week.
This 1 week. After the 1 week, now start giving them what? Another feed. We call it 0.1. Another week, we give them 0.2. Another week, we give them 0.3. By the time they get to the 4th week, they must have attained the age of what we call fingerlings. This is a good example of fries. We have fries there. Can you see? This is being done by the last lab. The last lab, lab 15. Is it lab 15? Okay, lab 16. So you are 17. So you are going to do your own this batch also. So when you do your own, batch 18 is going to take care of them when you come. When they come. As you are going to take care of this one also. So lab 18 is going to take care of your own also. So all this one is what I have for you inside the hatchery today. As you can see that you are not going to know everything in one day. At least you'll be seeing more of Mr. Sanosi and Mr. Pedro in the practical in the morning and the evening. So any question before? So this one is what we call the inlet. This is where the water comes in. This is where the water goes out, the outlet. Anytime you want to drain this water, don't remove the screen. The screen is inside here. This is the screen. Is this one that's going to separate your water and the fish? Because if you don't use screen, the fish is going to be flushed out by the water. Exactly. Anytime you are draining your water, you do what? You remove the outlet pipe alone. Don't remove the screen. So your screen is going to be determined by the size of your fish. The size of the screen you are going to use is going to be determined by the size of your fish. Because the size of the fish we are dealing with inside the hatchery here, because they are very small, that's the reason why we are using net to cover the screen here. So as they are growing up, we remove the net. When you know that they cannot pass through the hole we have here again. Can you see the hole? So when you know that they cannot pass through the hole here, so do what? We remove the net. But so far they are still small, so we use net to do what? To cover the hole. Hope you understand now. So that is screen. So we have various compartments of a good pond. Before you can say a pond is a good pond, must have the outlet, the inlet, the floor, the wall, and the floor, the wall, and the screen. Please get it right. The outlet, the inlet, the floor, and the wall, and the what? And the screen. So these are the compartments in a pond. So any question before I call the other to come in?
Okay, good morning, sir. I noticed that here the windows are closed.
Yes.
And I can see like a kind of light.
Yes.
Like, are you trying to control the temperature of the?
That's why I said it is temperature based experiment. So the higher the temperature, the faster the hatching rate. So we always encourage the high temperature here. That's the reason why we do what? Okay. We close everything.
Like how many days or weeks now do we change this water now?
The water.
Exactly.
We are not changing the water. That's why I said we are using flow. So as the water is coming, it's going out. There is no way your water is going to be dirty. Except if you have waste under it and you are going to siphon them out.
Okay.
Any waste.
What are the circumstances of we throwing that water out?
The what?
The water.
That's why I said you don't need to shake the water.
Okay.
So because the water is coming in and it's going out, so there is no way that you see at the point in time that you see any dirt on the water. So as water is coming in, it's going out. As water is coming in, it's going out.
So at what months are we going to stop doing
flow through? You can do it as long as you are. If you have the water in your farm, you can use it. Even those that are in table size and all this, they use flow through for them. You know the reason why some people don't just leave them like that. Some people leave them use flow through at times. so that there is no day that they won't eat. You know, anytime you drain the water of a pond, that means you have stressed your fish. So I always advise my clients or my students that anytime you drain your water, leave it for at least 6 hours before you feed them, because you have stressed them already. Let them acclimatize with the water before you start feeding them. You understand? But in order not to do that, to delay their growth, that's why we use flow through, so that there won't be any day that they won't eat. You understand? Because if you allow the water to stand like this and start putting the feed, it will get to a stage where the water will get dirty.
Yeah.
So once they are dirty, you need to drain the water.
Okay.
So at that time you are draining, they won't eat at that time. So it's going to affect their growth. Okay. You understand? That's the reason why we do flow through, so that there won't be any time that you won't feed them.
Okay.
Use the flow through. Yes. So using flow through, so that as water is coming in, it's going out.
Sir, I want to ask a question about the injection.
Injection. Okay.
Does it have any particular place that we're going to inject in the fish?
Yes. Now, listen carefully. This is a good question. When you are talking about aquaculture injection in the fish, we always give them between the dorsal fin and the lateral line. When I say dorsal fin to okay, so we call it dorsal fin. That dorsal fin, that's what we call dorsal fin, from the edge, the one that starts from the edge down to the tail. Yeah. That's dorsal fin. So there is one line beside it, under it. So that's what we call lateral line. So just make sure you give them in between the lateral line and the dorsal fin. Okay. Do you know the reason why I asked you to give them? That is where we call it intramuscular injection. That is where, because that is where we have the concentration of the muscles. That's where we have the concentration of the muscles. That's why I said give them in the intramuscular injection between the what? The dorsal fin and the lateral line.
So how will you know that this is a female fish?
Don't worry, you are going to show you everything. Even if you see their belly, know that.
Since it is a temperature-based experiment, can we start a process of fertilization, perhaps during when the days, so that by the time you wait for 6 hours and all, to be around 2-3, you understand, instead of 1-12. Since it's temperature based, you need temperature to be warm or hot.
You injected your fish in the night.
Yes.
Some people injected in the morning. Okay. But it depends on you as a farmer. Just know that anytime you want to put your eggs on the water, that we have at least high temperature at that period. So you can calculate it the way you like.
Okay. Sir, last question, sir.
Sorry. When you mix the head, okay, I have heard of something like saline water.
Okay, yes, saline water. You use it to do what? To mix it instead of just using raw. Don't worry, you are going to perform everything. That's why I said you can't know everything today.
Sir, since it's a flow through this thing, where are we going to put the feed?
Feed?
Yes.
No, you are putting it on the water, so it's going to
So I want to ask a question. Instead of using that kafta band, can't you just put the fertilized egg inside like that?
No. It's going to be with water, because it's really easy for you to pack them out when the egg is hatched. Yes, when the egg is hatched, it's really easy for you to pack it out, because it's going to pollute that water and it's going to keep all the larvae. But once they are on the net, you can easily carry the net and watch them away.
So how often does a female egg fertilize in a year? How often can you perform this experiment?
Actually, if you have standard hatchery, there's no day that you can do it throughout the year. If you have standard hatchery, when I say standard hatchery, it's not this kind of hatchery. The standard hatchery, you are going to have the regulator for the temperature. So majority of the people that are using outdoor hatchery, this time they won't hatch because the temperature is very low. At this time. That's why you see everybody will be seeing people looking for fingerling juvenile at this period of time. Because majority of the hatcher do not hatch, because majority of them are using outdoor hatchery. So those that are using indoor hatchery, they will be getting their money. and they can regulate the temperature very well inside the hatch.
Sir, last question, sir. We are talking about the hormone now. Does it have probably the measurements?
You know what? Let's keep our question
to practical.
Let me attend to the other group. So when we now go out there,
Thank you, sir.